Hi, I'm Heather Sugg reporting for FinTech Futures from Money20 USA. And today we have the pleasure of having Yodlee join us. And first up is Kat Cloud. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, yes, of course. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at...
Of course. So I'm Kat Cloud. I work for Envestnet Yodlee. I'm the Principal Director of Open Banking Compliance. So what does that mean in practice? Essentially, all of the compliance activities that we have around the world, because Yodlee is a global company, I am responsible for looking at how the different regulations are developing, the different quality controls that we need to do as a company to ensure we're remaining compliant with those rules. Also partnering with any of our clients to understand any of their compliance requirements, because sometimes we'll partner with a bank and we have to understand, okay, what are the due diligence that we need to do to ensure that they're happy to continue with the partnership, and it also kind of boils down to any of our clients. Cross-checking and making sure that any due diligence we need to do on them, that we're also happy, it's been completed correctly, all of that kind of fun stuff.
And it's very timely that we're talking about this now. We've got the news of the show being CFPB's Rule 1033 in the open banking in the United States.
Yeah.
So tell me about what you've done to prepare for that and how that's impacting on the client side.
Yeah, so Yodlee is actually, we've been working on it for years now. So we're 25 years old now. So kind of one of the more mature data aggregators, but we've been actively engaging with both the CFPB as well as the more general industry to push forward the idea of open banking. And the way we really think about it is it's putting the consumer back in control of their data. And you can see that when you read through 1033, that the CFPB is really echoing that message that it's all about consumers. Everything's consumer permission. We want to give consumers back control. And so what we've been doing is kind of pushing that messaging and really focusing and building all of our products and services on that platform and on that value. And we see ourselves in the middle. So we have the banks that we partner with, we have the clients that we partner with, and we're pushing kind of from both of those avenues that this is the future. This is how we need to kind of build the new open banking ecosystem. And again, kind of bringing it back to putting consumers back in control of their data.
As this goes through, what is the impact it's going to have on consumers and even small businesses?
I think it's going to be a big impact, but not necessarily an impact that consumers are going to see. So it's not like one day your banking app is going to look like this, and then the next day it's going to look completely different. What you're actually now going to see is smoother journeys. So you're going to see kind of, and in some cases, some banks have been fast movers and have already introduced some of these types of things. But you're going to see the ability to connect your data and to share your data smoothly. And it's really going to be like when you're going through that customer journey and you're clicking, yes, I give my consent, yes, I want to share my checking account information. It's going to be user-friendly, it's going to be it's going to be kind of a smooth journey that's going to take not that much time to actually process. And I can see in a couple years we'll be in a role where we'll be having another conversation and it will just be something that's so second nature, because it's been built to be so seamless and it's been built in mind with what consumers have already been interacting with.
So it is a very consumer-focused role. And as it's rolled out through the banks, let's talk about big banks and then smaller financial institutions. What's the impact it's going to have on the large banks?
So I think obviously there's the key impact of the timelines. So one of the big changes from the NPRM to the final rule is that they did change some of the timelines. So instead of having the largest banks having 6 months to comply, they now have 18 months to comply. So the largest banks have until the 1st of April 2026 to introduce all of the compliance things that they need to do. So I think that's going to be the first impact, is that over the next 18 months, we're going to start seeing these big banks kind of introduce the different requirements they need to build their new products, launch their new products that are built in compliance with 1033. For the smaller banks, they've been given more time. Depending on their assets, they have all the way up to 2030 to comply. And again, we're going to start seeing that kind of over the course of time as they need to meet their compliance deadlines. They'll start introducing their new products, kind of making the tweaks that they need to make to ensure that they're compliant with the rule.
That makes sense. Kat, is there anything specific that's come out in this latest announcement that really should stand out to the financial institutions that they need to start paying attention to now?
I think, to be honest, I think it echoes what the CFPB has been pushing for. And one of the ultimate goals of having 1033 was just exactly as you said, like putting consumers, kind of giving them that control, saying that my bank needs to actually work for me. I need to be able to share my data. I need to be able to kind of get value from my banking provider so I can better understand my financial life and I can better make financial decisions. So I think it's just a call to action. I think one that we all have been expecting, but it's just very clearly putting that call to action written down on a piece of paper.
Got it. That makes sense. Well, I thank you for the time.
Thank
It's
you.
important, and I'm sure we'll be back in touch and talk more.
Definitely.
All right, we'll have Eric and talk a little bit more about product. Now we've got Eric on from Yodlee as well. I want to talk to you a little bit more on the product side about what you've seen coming down the pipeline. But why don't we start with a quick introduction?
Sure, Eric Jamison. I'm head of product for our open banking platform. So I work closely with our clients to help them understand how our platform can help them in whatever use case they are looking to solve in terms of access to data, the analytics and enrichments that we can provide on top of that data, and ultimately the experiences that they're looking to drive for their customers.
So this 1033 is going to open up a wide realm of data, and we're going to see a lot of innovations come from it. What do you expect to see across credit and fraud and some of these major areas?
Yeah, so the promise of open banking is here, and we're excited at the opportunity of all the different use cases that our clients are looking to drive from the access to data. So certainly on the credit side, we see a lot of lenders looking to see how they can expand their use or their offerings of credit using data that they've not traditionally had access to. And now that we're starting to see it in a much more structured way, the types of analytics and enrichment that comes with that can help them make a much more informed decision on a loan, especially for consumers who are either low or subprime or in between from a credit perspective. They don't necessarily have the same credit profile that an established credit user would have. And so as these lenders are looking at individuals and their different transaction activity, they can make a much more informed decision on that consumer and extend credit to them where perhaps before they weren't able to offer to that consumer. So that it helps them expand their loan portfolio, and it helps the consumers who might have been limited or cut out of the market before have access to that credit that they need for whatever it is that they're looking to purchase or acquire at that point.
Absolutely, which is great for the health of the environment overall.
Yeah, it is. And I think that's the exciting thing, right? Being with Yodlee now for about 14 years, I've kind of seen innovation across the board, right? So, we've been helping provide consumers access to that data, right? And we've been doing it we spearheaded it more than 20 years ago. And now to see the market kind of validate the work that we've put in over time, that really justifies all the efforts that myself and all of our team members put into our platform to help make data accessible to consumers to help them solve their financial needs.
What do you expect to see on fraud and security?
So from a fraud perspective, as we start to see consumers expand the use of their data, right, I think fraud protection is one of those key areas that we'll see grow immensely. So now that we have this standardized access to data, consumers can permission it and keep track or help them keep track, right? Because it's kind of hard. We think about all the different places that we've set up our account profiles that we want to transact, because it is, we're in a digital economy. And so being able to kind of consolidate a view and have the power of a network help me better maintain my fraud or protect me against fraud, I should say. I think that's going to be the power of it. And for me to be able to permission it to the different providers that can now help me monitor my activity, you get a partner in that rather than trying to go it alone. So that's one of the areas that I think will be really key. I think the openness of open banking, being able to see where all my data is in a single place, knowing that working with my provider, I can turn off access if one of the locations that I've sent my data to is compromised in any way. So there's a lot more security that comes from the standardization of the open banking and open finance.
Absolutely is. You alluded to it a little bit, but tell us more directly. What is next and coming down the pipeline at Yodlee?
So at Yodlee, one of the key things we've done for years is work with innovation, work with innovators in this space. And that can come from either the bank or the FinTech side. We're here at a FinTech conference, and there's a lot of energy here. I think people miss the innovation that happens within the banks. And so we just want to be partners, right? We want to be a partner there. And so a lot of things that we see from our bank providers are helping their consumers in the digital economy today. So the subscription economy, right? I think of all the subscriptions that my wife and I and my son have. I can't keep track of them all. And so being able to, in this open banking scenario, get a consolidated view and understand all my subscriptions. Whether or not I want to take action on them, that's neither here nor there. Just being able to get that complete view. So we're starting to see different ways that our clients are innovating and pushing products out there to help consumers get a grasp of their finances. I think one of the other things too, we talked about lending, but also just leveraging AI in this economy, right? So having access to data is one thing, but having it structured in a way that the AI can interpret it, right? That the data scientists can manage it. I think that's one of the key areas that we have been focused on and are continuing to focus on, because there's so much more that consumers can do with the power of AI as a tool to help them in this market. And so putting forth the types of analytics and enrichment and standardization of the data beyond just the access to the data is really one of the key areas that we're focused on, so that it helps the data scientists, the AI interpret it, and drive better experiences for consumers.
We're going to see a ton come out on the AI side in the next 3 to 5 years, let's say. Do you have a crystal ball of any predictions of what we should watch?
You know, I wish I did. I wish I did. It's so exciting. It is a hard question. It's such an open market right now, right? Because I mean, I use it all the time, right? And I'm still figuring out how I can use it to benefit me, right? Because it's so vast, right? The information and the access to information that it has might not help me target a specific thing. And so part of the thing is learning as an individual how to get the right prompts, right? And by having the right data behind those prompts, as users can marry those two things together, I think we're going to see a lot of innovations that help consumers better understand, better plan, better work with their advisors, right? In a much more proactive way, in a much more involved way, whereas in the past, maybe it was a little bit more passive, right? So now I can work with AI, right, and do a comparison. Okay, well, what is my advisor recommending? What is AI recommending, right? And you can use that as a tool to help you better relate to your advisor and create a plan that works for you and your advisor, so that you establish that long-term plan.
Absolutely. So now we're in a situation where consumers don't even know the right questions to ask, but that will prepare them with everything. We all better get ready for that.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, thank you for this. It's great catching up again, and look forward to seeing all the good things to come.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.